with us Dave Tamelli from Third Coast Federal. Coast Federal is an organization that helps folks develop their ecosystems, understand the federal contracting requirements, and works to expand businesses. So without further ado, he'll walk us through the Federal Navigator tech scouting tool that he employs with Third Coast Federal. And as we go through this, I would ask that if you have questions, send them out on the chat, and we'll get to them as either the opportunity allows or at the end of the presentation. Without further ado, Dave.
Thank you, Sam. Appreciate it. So we're going to just touch on a couple of things as an intro before we jump right into the tool. Hopefully you can see my screen. We're going to, from an agenda standpoint, make sure I'm on the right screen here. There we go. We're going to talk very briefly about the innovation problems and supply chain problems that DoD has. What we're doing from our perspective, just about 30 seconds, and then really diving into the Navigator platform itself to talk about market research, tech scouting, and needs and challenges. If you're with Crane or Defense Department, you'll certainly be interested in the tech scouting capabilities that we have. If you're a business, I think you'll enjoy seeing it from the DoD side and understanding how you can get your information into our system so that it's easier to discover your business. Then briefly touch on a new STTR Third Coast is working on with the Joint Artificial Intelligence Center to give you an idea of what's coming down the pike as far as some new technology capabilities that we're adding to the platform. So the problem, DoD has an innovation procurement problem. As many businesses know, it's often difficult to figure out how to do business with DoD, but DoD has its own challenges that it faces in order to make sure that contracting is fair and that there's visibility across the system. It has to comply with a lot of requirements. And those requirements involve budgeting, requirements, approval, FAR-based procurement and contracting rules that were set up over a period of decades and that have not accelerated with the speed of innovation in industry. So they tend to stand in the way of permitting the DoD to engage in active innovative procurements. However, Congress and DoD have been adopting some strategies, OTAs, commercial solutions openings, and other procurement mechanisms. It's just going to take a while to get those throughout the various program and contracting offices so that people really understand how to use those effectively. But even with all those tools coming down the pike, it's still very difficult for DoD to find and engage innovative businesses and faculty. The other issue is that DoD has a severe supply chain problem. Given the difficulty in contracting that has been created and mandated on DoD, it's suffered significant deterioration in its defense industrial supply base. It's decreased by more than 40% over the last decade. If you look at the numbers in USA Spending and FPDS, currently DoD awards over 63% of its contracting dollars to just 100 businesses. Obviously, none of those are small. So the rules there make it difficult for small businesses to engage DoD and for DoD to engage small business. Unfortunately, our enemies are not encumbered with the same fairness restrictions and requirements that our own government is. So we really need to be innovative in the way that we help DoD engage industry and vice versa. You can see here there's a set of problems that really sit in the middle there. And the reason I raise this is because I think it's important to understand that what we do and what the tool, the Federal Navigator, is really about. We're working to provide DoD with the tools and strategies that are required to identify and engage innovative teams of industry and academic players that have the capabilities required to solve really difficult solutions for DoD at the speed of industry. And We also work with businesses and with regions in order to stand up federal ecosystems that support those businesses going after federal R&D awards and contracting awards to drive innovation and economic development. And that's where our tool is really focused on those aspects. So why don't we go ahead and, without further ado, I'm going to share a new screen with the Federal Navigator so that we can actually look at the specifics of the program. So let me stop sharing this screen and do a new share. All right, you should be able to see the homepage for the Federal Navigator. We're going to go ahead and log in. And if you want to register, please come to this page and you can sign in. So this is the homepage that you would see if you're on the tech scouting side. Businesses can show you what that homepage is going to look like. It's a little different. And we have different views that we can use. I'm going to move this up so that hopefully we can just drag this up. Is that, that may, see, are you able to?
We're able to see it.
Okay,
yes.
even
Yes.
if I drag it up, okay. Good.
No.
No, okay, so let me stop the share and reshare. I want to be able to show the audience here in the facility, the tool as well. That, all right, let's see. Here we go. So you should be able to see it now.
Yep.
Great.
Perfect.
All right. So the Navigator, just from a background standpoint, we bring in a variety of data sets that are relevant in the defense space in particular. We bring in all of SAM.gov, FPDS, and USA spending, grants.gov, CIBR.gov, patent database, and as well as Crunchbase and a number of other data sets. So from, if you want to get an idea of kind of the different data sets, you can see that we have a lot of different data sets that we pull in, as well as some different dashboards that we can bring in. On the home page, you can jump right into tech scouting through this top box. If you're on the DoD side, you may have an interest in particular topics or snapshots that would come up on your homepage. For instance, if somebody's interested in tech scouting, artificial intelligence, machine learning, and NLP capabilities, we pull up the kind of summary of all of the current solicitations that are out, as well as solicitations, past awards that are expiring in 3 to 12 months. And you can look at customers, the government agencies that we're in particular looking at for this topic, as well as the companies that are selling to those agencies for these topics. So you can drill down straight to those. For instance, if you wanted to see, what are the solicitations and CIBR sitters, you'd be able to go right to those topics to look at it. So right from the home screen, you can jump into a number of those activities. And likewise, if you want to look at kind of companies in the database, we have over 2 million companies in the database. Approximately 650,000 of those are out of SAM. The rest are out of Crunchbase and other data sets. Some of those we've built ourselves. But then you can check and see what businesses are in the marketplace, which ones have won contracts, grants, CIBR sitters, et cetera, so that for a particular topic area, you can get a real sense of who the players are and who's actually awarding those contracts from the government side. So why don't we go ahead and look at one of the differentiators that you may be familiar with, GovWin or GovTribe or a variety of the other engines that are out there, sites that are out there to support BD and capture in the government space. We do a variety of similar things, but ours is more, our system is really more focused on the tech scouting side and around building communities and networks so that you can focus in on interacting or engaging with specific groups of businesses So we have a concept in this case of in-network companies where you can, build a network and, we have one, IN3 has one. We're also supporting the JAKE, Joint Artificial Intelligence Center with the Tradewind. They have their own network. And you can, check out the companies that are in that network. And so one of the things we do right from the marketplace, in-network marketplace, is give you the ability to check out the businesses that are in there, some of their basic award information right off the top, just so you can understand who's in the community. You can see some of these businesses are in the federal ecosystem already with some awards. A lot of them aren't. So some of them are businesses that we're trying to attract into that community. With respect to then tools from a scouting and sourcing side, that's where a lot of the activity is going to occur for a DoD Tech Scout. In this case, what you're seeing on the left, let me see if I can actually highlight some of this. Looks like my, oh, there we go. Now I can get up here. Over on the left side, the snapshots. These are effectively pre-baked scouting. If you have a particular area that you're interested in and you want to keep track of what's going on in that field, for instance, if you're interested in who's working in technologies relating to inertial measurement units or IMUs in the hypersonic space, you can simply go straight to the snapshot. And that snapshot will bring up a list of the companies in the marketplace, the federal contracts, grants, sitters, patents, university innovations, national lab innovations, et cetera, that are relevant to that particular technology. And then you can go, you can look at some of the specifics for that particular technology right out of the dashboard for that sourcing snapshot. And this will lead you straight to those organizations. These snapshots are continually updated. So they will automatically update and you can look at products, services, R&D. You can export these to Excel and they'll give you contact information for the organizations. You can drill down into the specific patents or other awards in order to understand what the market looks like. And you can have as many of these snapshots as you want and go directly into them. You'll see on the left-hand side, just under that we have a variety of sourcing channels. These are the data sets that we're pulling information from for the purpose of the tech scouting exercises. So you can look globally at the information from all of these, or you can focus in on specific sourcing channels. We also can bring in custom sourcing channels. So if you have a particular data set that you work with, or even a third-party data set that you would like to incorporate into the tech scouting process, we have APIs to be able to incorporate those sources directly into the scouting exercise. So we'll go back to, if you want to see what the snapshot looks like, it's very easy to set these snapshots up. Essentially name it, put in some primary keywords. If you want to have an exact phrase, as opposed to including a variety of terms, if you want to have an exact phrase, you simply use the additional filter for those exact phrases. So it's very easy to set up. So we'll go back to the sourcing home and take a look at a couple of these projects. So for instance, if we want to look at a drone AI project, this is something that I've done a little bit of research on. This is what the sourcing project looked like once you've started putting information in. You can actually define requirements specifically for the source item if you want. You can look at the contact list for the businesses that you have already identified and pinned to the sourcing project. But in a sense, this is where you would keep track of the companies. You can select the channel. Again, remember the data channel that you want if you want to focus in on specific data sources. And then you can define the alignment to the particular activity. So once you drill down into these companies, you would then be able to see what specifically you've decided the alignment is. And I want to show you the kind of information that we have on companies, just so you can get a sense of who they are. Like for this, we drill down specifically to the snapshot of the company. We've got in this case, it was a Ciber Sitter award. So sourcing channel was Ciber Sitter. So we're pulling up the specific summary for the Ciber award so that you can understand what it was that actually the hit was against. So you can take a look at that. We also have some contact information relating to that business here. If you want, you can drill down specifically into the contract and the award. You can look at their related experience. I'm going to show you what a company profile looks like so that you can understand the kind of information that we collect. In the overview, you get a very short description of the business. Some of this is not going to be filled out if the business is not a member of the Navigator network. So if you were a member of the Navigator network, you could build this out to include a very robust description of your products and services. And I would suggest that if you want to be found, that you do so. And then we have contact information, obviously URLs, and we can collect information from you on team history, etc. And then we pull up the information from, you can see here, if they had patents awarded, those patents would be listed here. Crunchbase and some of the other data sets, we can actually pull funding rounds and people, as well as certifications from some of those. If they had published any press or media, we could put that in here. You can see what their active contracts are. You can see right now they have 12 active contracts, and you can see what those specific actions are. So there's a lot of information as a tech scout that you can get. You can see their expired contracts, contract vehicles, the subcontracts they're on, as well as subcontractors that they have. And you can see this company's done a significant number of Ciber Sitters, right? They're at 28. So, we've got some extensive information here that can help the tech scout really understand what this business does, who they are, and kind of how active they are in the federal ecosystem or not. From a dashboarding perspective, we just put together a brief dashboard about the business to help you understand a little bit about where they are. You can see that their revenues in diversity and contracts over the years, what that looks like, see what the total amounts are per year. This gives you an understanding of kind of the award timeline and where they are from a funding standpoint, as well as the departments and the agencies, the products and services and NAICS codes that they're operating in. And every one of these you can drill down into to click down specifically to get to the summary contract information that this is derived from. So let's go back now. Options. If I was looking at this business and they weren't already a part of or pinned to the scouting exercise, I would be able to pin them to this particular scouting exercise. Other things you can do are add them to a portfolio. If I wanted to track companies that are in this particular space, you can create a portfolio to track a group of those companies, and you can look at statistics about the group and about the companies individually. You can follow the company so you can get updates about their awards, and you can add them to a network. For instance, if IN3 or the Jake wanted to add that business to the network, they would be able to do that so that they could track them in the network and look at them, invite them to participate in the network and engage them through a variety of means that we have to communicate with the businesses in the network. The other thing you can do is add comments. So if you want to add comments or upload documents related to the business as a Tech Scout, you can do that. And you can then share that with your fellow coworkers as well if you want. So you can invite people to actually share comments back and forth between a group of scouts. I am now going to go back to page here. So we've already looked at the particular listing for this business. If you want to add additional businesses to the scouting project, you can simply type in the subject here. And let's say that we wanted to look at something a little different. I don't know, maybe we want to look at altimeters. I don't know why you would want to do that necessarily for this project, but it did. Do a search, you're going to come up with a list of hits. It's going to take a moment because it's pulling through a massive amount of information. And you can see that it automatically went through and pulled out companies in the marketplace, companies, federal contract awards, grants, silver sitters, etc. And for instance, if we wanted to, we could look at this company, check out, okay, they won a phase 1, intelligent automation. Let's say we want to go ahead and add a note to it. Maybe we want to say, company highlight. Oh, help if I could type well. Not a good secretary. Oh, you can't see the pop-up. Ah, okay. I'm sorry. Trying to think of it. There's trust me, there's a window here that pops up where you add the note. You can put in a summary of the note. You can create a task from it, add a due date to it, and set a status, and then save it. It'll attach then to the particular project. And I think I can actually show that to you. So let me just finish this out. I'm going to then pin this to the sourcing project. Another window pops up to be able to do that. Unfortunately, you're not going to be able to see that, but I'm going to select the existing project, or if you have an option to add it to a new project. I'm just adding it to the existing project. So this is intelligent automation. And then let's go back to the project. And you'll see intelligent automation is there. If we click on it, we can add comments to it. And you can see that I pinned it when it was, I'm sorry, that's when the business was last updated. But you can see that the business is now part of the particular sourcing project. So sourcing is, these sourcing projects are one aspect or one way that you can collect a list of businesses. You can export them and use this as a means of discovering businesses that are relevant to a particular project. Now, in contrast to the source, I'm going to go back here. In contrast to the snapshots, which are continually updating to add new businesses and new awards, the sourcing projects do not. As you can imagine, you wouldn't want these automatically updating. You want a historical list that you control. So you could look at the sourcing, at those sourcing snapshots, see the new companies that have come in or the new awards that have come in, and add those to the sourcing project. You can't share these projects. So if you have a program office or a customer that you want to share with, you can actually import people to share from groups. and manage groups. So if you wanted to create a group of fellow Tech Scouts or program offices that you wanted to share with, you would be able to share across a group, and that entire group would be able to see those projects. I want to show you opportunity boards. This is something from the business side that you might be interested in. You're able to track opportunities that are coming out. If you look at the opportunity lists, you can see that you can type in a search keyword, and we're just going to do this for the heck of it. Actually, let me do it for the month.
And after you do this, Dave, we've got, I think we've got a list of questions.
Okay, great. Fantastic. Oh, wait a minute. Oh, I'm sorry, I typed this in wrong. Even somebody who's used to using the system can occasionally screw it up. Do this. Type in Sonics. Post this month. All right, so you can see that it would pull up what opportunities have been published, and you can see that there are 3 federal contract opportunities that have come up in the past month, what their due dates are, who the agencies are, et cetera. So then you'd be able to drill down into those. If you wanted to, you can click into the opportunity, and then you can actually add this to an opportunity board so that you can track those opportunities. It's also useful from a Tech Scout perspective to understand what opportunities are coming out, like who's buying what, in order to take a look at that. It looks like we're hanging here on the network. Why don't we go ahead with, while that's loading, why don't we go ahead with the questions?
Kayla?
So Vicky asked, noted national labs called out. Does this system also deal with DOE contracts and solicitations, et cetera?
Yeah, so this is not exclusive to DoD. So we have all of every opportunity and every contract, every grant, every SBIR that's awarded regardless of the agency. I've been stressing the Department of Defense because of the audience, but literally every agency, every award, every solicitation is in the platform. So we would have all of it.
And someone else mentioned seeing the drone sword and how that sounded like an awesome weapon. But that's not really a question.
Yes, I would like one of those. So I think part of the problem with the with getting this is that our network connection is a little unstable. So hopefully people will still be able to see. I'm going to close this out just so that we don't kill the pipeline. Any other questions so far?
No, anyone else have any other questions? You can put them in the chat.
All right, so we're going to look at I'm going to go in and change one thing that I want to do here. Well, let's take a look at the market reports. So one of the things that we do is try and give scouts and businesses the ability to understand who's buying what in the marketplace. And so if, for instance, I'm going to look at this artificial intelligence report. If you want to understand who's buying what in the federal government relating to the technology of interest, you can actually get a sense of what agencies are purchasing, who the top contractors are, vendors are that they're purchasing from. And hopefully my connection, there we go, is stable enough. Okay.
All right.
If you're a business, you can actually put your name in here as well as your DUNS, and it will pull up any awards that you have that are relevant to the specific agencies. So you can see here, we have for this report, we've chosen specifically DoD, Department of State, Department of the Interior. If you wanted to, you can actually set up specific agencies, and I'll show you that in a minute. as opposed to going with full departments. We've simply selected all the agencies for these. We're dealing with artificial intelligence or AI for the search string. And you can see that there are 354 contract actions and awards for this. Now, if you look at the market itself, right, and I'll pull this up, hopefully my connection is good enough to do that. Doesn't look like it wants to play right now. It's pulling up a massive amount of information. I'm afraid my connection to the internet is not stable enough to support this. Here we go. Okay. So you can see we've got the top 20 companies, just quick hit. You can see who some of the top companies are in this particular market, what the obligations and base and all options are. If you want to, you can drill down into the specific company. I've already showed you what those profiles look like. You can drill down into all of the specific awards, and you can get a sense of who the customers are from an agency standpoint. So if you're a tech scout in let's say in Crane, for instance, and you want to find out who else in government you should be talking to about possibly offering them tech scout related services or trying to bring them in as a customer, this maybe one way to do that. So you'd be able to understand, which of these agencies of the departments that we selected are buying artificial intelligence related solutions. You can see the amounts that they've obligated, as well as based on all options, the number of contract awards, and the number of contractors that they're specifically dealing with. And if you want, you can actually drill down into these specifically. You can see the Department of the Army has the largest by amount obligated, and DLA is actually the largest by the pure number of awards. We'll go ahead and drill down into this just so you can see the kind of information that you get relating to the agency. You can see that, visually ECS is the largest, Carnegie Mellon is significant, and Stampede Ventures, never heard of them, but you can drill down in and see what they're about. You can see the agencies specifically, what groups you're talking about with their locations, where they are, and then specifically what contracts are generating the most spend. And you can drill down into the individual awards if you'd like to do that as well. So a lot of information, quick hits that you can get based on to give you a sense of what the market is before you jump into a tech scouting or business development exercise. You can share these reports with other people on your team or other organizations even outside of your team. If you want to see what the market report actually looks like, it's easy to set up. You name it, put in your agencies that you're interested in, a description of the agencies that you're working with so you can keep track of it, select the timeframes, and then choose the departments and the agencies that you're particularly interested in. You can see, again, just to the point, we do have DOE and all of the departments in here. We do have the agencies in here as well, so that you can select those specifically. And you simply set the keywords. So if you wanted to, you could update it to change the dates in question or to change keywords or agencies. I'm going to go ahead and return now.
I think we've got some more questions in the
Great.
Q&A.
Yeah, Ian Fields asked, as a Crane employee, how can we use this platform and are we able to get a login?
So Anne, that's a great question. We should definitely talk about that. I will talk with the IN3 folks a little further about that, but yes, we can get you a login and get you either an ability to test it, or we do license it out and provide a lot of support around that as well. But we can definitely follow up after this.
And then Mark asked, is it possible to set up notifications based on present criteria so that any new items come up and you are notified?
Yeah, so that's a great question. Thank you for teeing that up. I should pay you to help me out. So you do have the ability to add notifications, and these can come out as frequently as you want. Right now, I have an AI, ML, NLP opportunity set up in order to notify me daily about opportunities that are coming out in this space. So you can see here that you can set up as many notifications as you want. You can create a notification name so that you're aware of which one it is when you get it in your email. You can down select by the particular type of opportunity that you're interested in, whether you want to nail it to a particular state, and then put in your keywords. If you want, you can specify NAICS or PSCs, and then you can check what frequency, daily, weekly, or monthly, you get these updates in. If you're waiting monthly, you're probably not really that interested in going after the award because you're going to be a little late to the game. And then status, right now I've got it on, but you can always pause this if you decide that you want to take a little break from the traffic. But you can set these up, and then you will receive notifications as frequently as you set. One of the other things that you should note is that you can actually exchange messages with other members on the exchange. You can look at your connections and follow people. You can look at who's following you, who's viewed you, companies that you follow, and your notes. And so, for instance, I made a note about a company that one company I made, that I mentioned earlier. And so, I can track the notes that I've specifically made. Now, I should have put the name of the company. You couldn't see the note when I made it. I should have put the company note in here so that I would actually remember who it was. We do have the ability, though, in the scouting exercise to track notes in the particular scouting project. And then one of the other functions that we should talk about very briefly is communities. Communities are a way of creating a group of folks within a network. In this case, you look in the Navigator right now, we have an IN3 network. We also have a Tradewind network, which is, as I mentioned, the JAIC, the Joint Artificial Intelligence network. You can create communities within those networks. And so we've started to put together a regional Cyber Sitter initiative that we use to post information, track opportunities that are relevant. So new solicitations that are coming out related to Cyber Sitters, an intro. So think about if you wanted a community around hypersonics or trusted microelectronics or robots, automation, et cetera, you'd be able to put in a variety of information there. So we put this information together to help companies understand the Cyber Sitter program. And then we have a very robust calendaring capability to be able to track events relating to innovation exercises, Cyber Sitter opportunities, et cetera. So these are all things that we've been inserting, and you can filter it by location, by category, or by organization. And then you can have post resources related to the specific thing. So we've started building this around Cyber Sitters, but you could do this around any topic. And then you can add members to the community in order to facilitate activity around, for instance, the opportunities if you want to go after those collectively. So that's another function. Other questions?
Yeah.
Great.
So Anne just wanted to follow up and say thank you. She was selfishly interested, but also intrigued into how our contracting and technical teams might be able to leverage the Federal Navigator to expand their capabilities. She looks forward to chatting with you offline. And thanks very much for being here.
Fantastic.
And then we had one more. Ralph says, as a vendor, how can we see if we're in the Federal Navigator?
All right. Does Ralph want to provide me the company name?
Ralph, what's your company name? We can look it up live. Data-driven supply chain.
So if this is it,
That's it.
all right. Yeah, so you're in here. If you wanted to, you would be able to come in. You would be able to claim the business. You would be able to add your information in here. We have a sign up process for that. You'd be able to put in additional points of contact. Ralph, Asher, good to meet you. And thank you for attending today. And then the other thing that we can do is we can add custom lines or custom data points in here to collect specific information or documentation that a network owner wants. So for instance, with Tradewind, we're talking with IN3 and proposing that there may be specific artificial intelligence related information that they want to collect. We can, for instance, collect quad charts or company capability statements or other things. So you can upload those. You can put as much marketing information in here as you want, put more information in about your team. Adding information in helps you to be discovered because you'll come up in relevant searches related to the information that you're adding. So definitely would invite you to do that. We do have a free basic account for businesses that enables you to make sure that your information is in here and to engage in some basic activities. We do have some very low cost, like $4.99 a month accounts for businesses as well that want to get into more extensive searching and activities within the Navigator. But if you want, please reach out to me. I will post my contact information at the end of the presentation. Please reach out to me. I'd be more than happy to talk you through the process and get you access.
Jared asked, has there been any movement to acquire SoftWorks, AppWorks, ERDC Works into this platform?
So actually, if you'll notice, so the Federal Navigator is part of the Ratio Exchange. My former coworkers, Jim Benson and Jerry McCoy and Jeff Rose, we all formerly worked together for about 4.5 years before heading out and starting a couple of ventures. Ratio and Third Coast are closely affiliated, and they are actually working with the Defense Works organizations. So yes, we do have them in the platform. In fact, they release challenges through the opportunities. So we have the ability for organizations like the JAKE and the SoftWorks and DefenseWorks organizations to release challenges. And you can see here that SoftWorks released a challenge that has a return date no later than submit by March 1st if you want to participate in this semi-autonomous precision robotic application demonstration day. So yeah, they already are a part of the network. One thing I didn't reference, this is actually we've created this to be highly configurable. I'm going to let you in on the back end a little bit here. We do have the ability to set roles and change roles very quickly, and to manage folks. I'm just going to show you. Actually, let me do this first. Let me go to Tradewind. So we're going to go into the Tradewind network. So my connection will let me. Okay, so this is the tech scouting role. We have a variety of roles, but this is the tech scouting role in the Tradewind network. Want to see if we have it up here. So from tech scouting, we actually have the ability to publish needs. So if you wanted to create a need and share it, and I'm just going to show you an example here. You'd be able to enter a lot of information about that need. This was a sample that I created previously. You can put reference URLs. You can upload documents related to it, add requirements. You can take questions and answers. You can see how many people have viewed it. You can publish this out. Right now, I have this set as private, but I could set it as public and share it out to the entire network or even across the entire exchange if I wanted to. So if you're a tech scout and you want to get some feedback from industry, kind of a mini RFI, if you will, you would be able to publish this out and get feedback and then work with those companies. Another similar concept, which allows you to run companies through a process, a challenge process. You can actually release a challenge. We can call these things anything you want. Jake actually calls these something else, not challenges. They call them announcements. But you would be able to run a challenge, which gives you the ability to, for instance, we'll look at this now as a challenge as opposed to a need. You can look at the challenge summary, the project that you've put together. You can list out things like what the reward or prize is. You can add attachments if you want to have additional documents, and then track certain statistics and metrics about the challenge. You can source companies for it. So if you want, you go much like the scouting side, you source the companies, you bring them in to the exercise, and then you can run them through, and keep track of what companies you initially scanned and looked at. You can, which ones you were moving through a deeper level of consideration and down selection, and then ultimately selection. And you can advance the companies through that process, keep notes about them, and you can share these across a group so that if you have several folks that you want to work with on a sourcing exercise, on a challenge exercise, you would be able to do that. All of these phases are completely configurable to whatever phases and however many phases you want. And we can actually change the way that you classify them. This can be captured for historical information. Again, even here, you would be able to check and see how many times the challenge has been viewed, who's expressed interest. So as a business, you would be able to express interest. You'd be able to submit questions and answers. So it's a great tool for interacting and engaging with industry or with a specific marketplace, and would be more than happy to kind of walk through more of the specifics there if you're interested. Any other questions? I think we're right about time.
We are. Kayla, anything else in the queue?
No, no other questions right now.
Dave, I would just ask if you would, you've touched on some of it already, but I know that this has been iterations of this tool that have come out. Any thoughts about what you might want to share on where this is headed?
Yeah, actually, I thank you, Sam. I appreciate that. So kind of the last thing that I wanted to talk about is that Third Coast was just awarded a phase 2 STTR. We're partnered with Notre Dame to work with the Joint Artificial Intelligence Center to implement some artificial intelligence related tools, particularly knowledge graphs and some other capabilities, in order to be able to bring the tech scouting process to a point where you can allow the machine to do more of the effort. Right now, a lot of systems rely on keyword-based searches or natural language processing. And as good as those can be if you're proficient in using them, the problem is they're not very good at helping you discover new capabilities that are perhaps not yet invented or not well documented. And so what we are doing with the knowledge graph tools is, and we've already built a prototype of this using some neural net technologies and things like TF-IDF and cosine analysis. What we're doing is setting it up so that we can ingest an entire problem statement or an entire solicitation to be able to understand what the issues are that are, what subject matter is going on there, what the real issues are, so that we can then match companies based on, we're scraping their websites, we're looking at, and we're going to be looking at their patents and their CyberSitter awards and other information in order to be able to understand which businesses are a match, not just from a particular award or maybe from a particular keyword or natural phrase, but really understanding the context around that, using the knowledge graphs to be able to get to that so that we can then help match companies very precisely. So if you do a search, instead of getting back 1,000 companies that may have a relevant term in one of their awards or on their website, you'll get back a list of a handful of companies that actually have demonstrated expertise in the areas that are required in order to address the particular problem statement that you have. So that's where we're going next. We're already starting to scrape a number of businesses' websites, and we're already pulling the Silver Sitter Awards into that. We're going to start expanding beyond that over the coming months as we implement that technology with the J.
It's really exciting, and I appreciate you sharing that with us. And really thank you today for what you presented to the group and for being a part of our team. I'm just happy to have you here. So.
Well, thanks for having us. We appreciate it. Thanks for attending. If you have any questions, please do not hesitate to reach out. I am going to share my contact information just so that you have it. Go back to share. All right. Now we'll go down to the last page. This is my contact info. If you need any information, please reach out. Happy to take the time to talk with you about your particular questions or to provide you with training on the platform.
Okay, that wraps up officially today's events. We will have our next one on March 29th. We'll be getting information out about it. It'll be our partner who flies UAVs, ETI, and they will actually be on site doing demonstrations here at the Westgate Academy and flying the drone. So a lot of exciting things coming down the road for us. Dave, thank you so much for joining us today. Really appreciate it.
Thank you.
All righty. Thank you, everyone. See you next month. Well done, sir.